Hi friends, welcome to the Healthy Human Project, a space where healing and transformation begin. And today we're talking about something that is so essential. It is the foundation for our healing, for our ability to thrive and to live great lives. And that is safety and trust. Now, when we don't feel safe, our bodies tense up, our minds get anxious and they look for danger. So they're constantly scanning the environment to look for danger. And we're disconnected from our soul self. We can't tap into the inner guidance that each of us has, this North Star. We call it the intuition, but it's being able to communicate with our soul. So we're disconnected from that. All of this happens when we don't feel safe. And when we don't trust, it's like building a house on quicksand. So we're building, and we're sinking and falling through the cracks the whole time, barely able to keep our heads out of the quicksand. So let me ask you something. When is the last time that you felt truly safe? You felt not only physically safe, but mentally and emotionally. You felt safe in your relationship. You felt safe to be yourself. You felt safe to speak up for yourself. You felt safe to express yourself. Now, for a lot of us, we might be going back quite a long time. It might be hard to find when is the last time I felt completely safe. We'll get to trust in a minute too. So I'll tell you a personal story. 3.5 years ago, I was not feeling safe. I was in a state of utter despair. My life had flipped upside down and I couldn't tell up from down. I was afraid of everything. My husband had died. I was raising my kids, and it felt like I couldn't trust this life. I couldn't trust this world. I didn't understand a world how someone could be here one day and not be here the next. And I didn't trust myself because I also didn't understand how I had gotten into this situation. How could this be my life? I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of not being able to keep my kids safe. I was afraid of life falling apart again, the other shoe dropping, And that summer I started building a patio out of pavers. My mom got all these free pavers, and so I was just in the dirt. I needed to be doing something with my hands and being in the earth. So I dug up this tiny little part of my backyard and I started laying down pavers to set a patio. And some of them were short and some of them were tall. They were different sizes. So I dug this trench and I laid down the pavers. I poured sand in between and swept the sand into the cracks. And I walked over it and it felt solid and stable. And I was like, wow, it took about a week of 8 hours a day, hard work. And I was pretty happy. It was like, okay, it wasn't professional, but for me, it was great. And 2 days later, it rained and the sand moved and the pavers moved, and then all of a sudden the smoothness of the surface became jagged and uneven. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not safe. This isn't safe. I've got a 4-year-old. And if he were to trip on an uneven paver and hit his head on the side of an uneven paver, and then what would happen? That's not safe. And I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't safe. But the thought of digging up all the pavers and redoing it I didn't want to do that. So I put down an outdoor rug over the patio and I walked around on it and tried to jump on the pavers to get them all to smooth out and even out. And I put a chair on it and was like, maybe no one will notice, maybe I can just sit on it. I sat on the chair and fell over. So no, this wasn't safe. And I realized at that moment, this is what so many of us do, is we just throw a rug over something that we know is not safe. We know there's no trust, and we throw a rug over it and we pretend like it's okay, and we hope that no one is going to notice, and we hope that no one will get hurt. So that for me was the big, oh my gosh, the foundation. As I was looking at my life and I was looking at the pieces of my life and I was looking at the pieces of my personality, which I felt like my Lego land called my life had tumbled onto the floor, and looking at these pavers was like looking at the Lego pieces of my life, and And I was like, which ones am as I start to rebuild my life, what goes down at the bottom? What is at the foundation? And it's safety and trust. Two things that I didn't have. So I dug up the pavers, I redug the trenches, tried to even them out. It was a lot harder the second time because I didn't want to be doing it, and it felt like work rather than therapy or relief from my grief. And I laid the pavers down, and it was okay. It was pretty good. Not great, but safe. It was safe. And as I was doing the same thing in my life, I started putting back pieces together and going, safety needs to be first. Safety needs to be first. How do I establish safety? So when it comes to establishing safety, and for some, it might be rebuilding safety, a feeling of safety. For others, it's going to be building it for the first time because maybe you've never felt safe. Either way, we start with small things. And what's important is that where we place our attention and our intention will determine what we see. So when it comes to safety, for most of us, and I'm not talking about if you are physically unsafe, if you are not in a place where you are safe, you want to get out of danger. That's important. So this is safety in terms of the mental, emotional safety and how we're feeling safety. And anyone that's experienced trauma or grief or loss of any kind, or just feeling unsafe to be yourself, this is what I'm talking about. So when it comes to feeling safe, I started putting little post-it notes on the mirrors, just saying, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe to be myself. I am safe today. I am safe to express myself. And then I also made a commitment to myself not to live in fear. So I knew what living in fear was. I'd lived in fear for about 2 years before my husband died, and I committed to not living in fear. So that meant I had to be able to identify fear in my body. So I started paying attention to, oh, what is this feeling when I don't feel so good? And rather than just avoiding, distracting, going and doing something else, being too busy to deal with it then, I said, all right, no, when I feel fear, I need to sit down right then at that moment and find out what the fear is, and then trace the fear and release it. Because the only way through fear is through it, right? If we avoid it, we don't actually get through the fear. So I started noticing my fear, how it felt in my body, and then facing it when the fears came up. But I made a commitment, I'm not gonna live in fear. I'm setting the environment now that my home is safe. So what does that look like when we create an environment or a habitat of safety? And think of it can be your home, it can be this energetic bubble around you, your aura of safety. And you can even do this as a bubble exercise of visualizing a bubble around you. We'll call it the aura, but your energetic bubble. And inside, only that which has your highest good is allowed inside. You can decorate the inside of the bubble with pink and softness or whatever it is, anything where you're going to feel safe to be yourself. Small little things to create a sense of safety, but it has to be our intention with our attention, because we can put our attention on so many different things. And what I found for myself is that I had been replaying the night that my husband died over and over and over in my mind. Replaying it. It was a really scary night. And so every time I replayed it, I was reactivating the fight or flight system in my body and the nervous system. And the body mind doesn't know the difference between a real or an imagined event. So when we watch a movie, we're feeling it, right? You get those feelings of fear and angst. When you're watching a love movie, you get those feelings of joy and romance. So we don't know the difference between what we're imagining, what we're remembering, and what we're actually experiencing. So when I made the commitment not to live in fear, I also had to make the commitment to not replay those memories over and over and over. I had to stop listening to voice memos. I had to stop reading journals. I had to stop doing that. I had to work through my grief, and I worked through it. I had to work through the event. I had to work through the guilt. I had to work through all the what ifs. There is some work that goes along with it. It's not that you just go, I'm just going to put that off to the side. We do the work. But it's making the commitment. I am not going to live in fear. I am going to focus on what makes me feel safe and what makes my family feel safe. And I am putting all of my attention and intention into safety, because that is how we thrive. This is so, oh my gosh, in an age when we can watch whatever we want to watch, we can get the crap scared out of us anytime we want. We get addicted to this thrill. We get addicted to the anger. We get addicted to this, it's like an oomph of emotion. It's kind of a rush of emotion, and we get addicted to it. It becomes a habit. And so we have to retrain ourselves to go, wait a second, I'm taking the time today to sit and to feel safe. I'm taking the time to notice, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. Now, at the time I was having some panic attacks, and when you have a panic attack, it feels kind of like you're gonna die, and I would sit on the bathroom floor and I would feel the cold tile. And I would just say, oh, that's the cold tile. I might feel the towel. I would notice the sensations that I physically felt and go, that's right. This is where I am right now, right here. I am safe right now, right here. This is where I am right now, right here. We look at what's around you. If you're not feeling safe, you can go, I am right here, right now. And when it comes to trust might be a little bit harder. It takes maybe more time to establish trust, because we have to establish the trust with ourselves. So what I had found was that I didn't trust myself, and I hadn't trusted myself for a long time. I didn't trust myself to make good decisions. I didn't trust how I was living my life, because I was like, how did I get here? How is this my life? I don't understand. So I had no trust. And then when I was looking back at it, I realized that I hadn't trusted anyone. So I had to learn how to trust, and that started with doing small little things that I said I was going to do, and to be consistent and to be able to trust myself. So it started with something small. For us in our home, it started with the family manifesto, home is safe space. Then I had to be that. I had to fill the home with safe space. I had to grow and cultivate our home as safe space. And so that trust started to build. And when it comes to growing trust, it might take a long time, but we have to have lots of self-compassion, have lots of patience, have lots of willingness to fall down and make mistakes and brush it off and get right back up and just keep moving forward. Know that it's the foundation. Safety and trust are the foundation for how we can thrive, for how our families can thrive, for how our communities can thrive. And so it's important. And it will require disassociating from some of the things out there that make us feel scared or that make us lose trust. Again, always we have this choice of where do I put my attention and what is my intention, and we have to keep reusing it over and over and over. Where am I putting my attention and where is my intention? And keep redirecting it towards safety and trust. Safety and trust. I build trust in myself today. So slowly I built up the foundation of safety and trust in my own life. And if I can build the foundation of safety and trust in my life, you can too. You can too. I share this because I know how lonely this journey can feel. And I want you to know that you are not alone. It is a hard journey, but you're not alone. Here at the Healthy Human Project, we can come together as a community. We can get little tips on how can I navigate life a little bit better? How can I take myself from surviving to thriving in a small, simple way? So it's just this week, we're focusing on safety and trust. Choose the thoughts that make you feel safe. Choose to be around people that make you feel safe. When it comes to creating an environment, what's in my environment that allows me and supports this feeling of safety? What's in this environment that I might need to remove or get rid of because it does not support my feeling safe, or it might even make you feel unsafe? So how do we begin? Let's say I'm feeling really unsafe. I feel anxiety. I feel super afraid right now. Where do we start? We start with being still. Sit down, feel your feet on the ground, feel your bottom on the ground, feel your hands on your lap. Bring your awareness to your breath. So we can feel safe by something internally or something externally, right? We can feel unsafe because of our own thoughts or because there's something out there that activates a thought or a reaction in us. So we bring ourselves right back to this moment right here, right now. Simple breath work and yoga can help us to reset the nervous system. It creates the space where our body-mind goes, oh, I'm safe. Deep breaths in and out through the mouth, maybe in through the nose, out through the mouth. I am safe. At this very moment, I am safe. Second thing we do is we create the environment where safety and trust grow. So again, you'll look around at your environment and go, what can I do to cultivate safety and trust in my environment? Maybe it's adding a plant. Maybe it's putting a Post-it note that says, I am safe. Maybe it's a reminder, I make a commitment not to live in fear. I usually don't like to use not because our mind doesn't know the negatives. But for me, that was a big one because fear has that power over me that I just go, ugh! So I have to go, oh yeah, that's right. I commit, I'm not living in that state anymore. The third thing we can do is surround ourselves with people who also support safety and trust. We bring in things that allow us to feel safe and allow us to trust, and remove things that don't support that. When we're consistent, when safety is consistent, we can also build trust at the same time. The third thing that we do in the Healthy Human Project is we look at the root of our struggles. So it's not just about getting rid of the surface stuff. We're not like, oh yeah, okay, I am, I'm getting rid of my fear and I'm starting to trust it's not on a surface level. We go back and trace these things all the way down to the roots and we remove them so that they don't have any power over us anymore. The work is internal and it's deep. And it's my intention, it's our intention here at the Healthy Human Project to change just one person's life. If by me doing this can make one person not feel alone, make one person go, oh my gosh, wait a second, I realize I've been reactivating myself over and over and over, making myself feel afraid. No wonder I have anxiety because I'm thinking the thoughts that are making me feel afraid all the time. Or if it takes one person who goes, oh my gosh, I just don't know. I don't know that I can go on. I don't know how to get up from this latest collapse, this latest crash, this latest struggle, this hurdle. If one person goes, you know what? I'm going to take it one tiny step at a time and I am not alone, then this is all worth it. It's our intention here to make a difference in someone's life. By taking small little actions, we can change the trajectory of a person's life experience. So instead of going downhill, we start to go uphill. We build trust with ourselves repeatedly over time. And wow, what a world that's going to be. Look, I want my kids to live in a great world where people are happy and people like each other and there's safety, there's community, there's trust, there's thriving, there's growth, there's health, there's love, there's fun, and there's joy. We can do this. We can do this. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. It's truly an honor. Thank you for spending the time with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more content on the Healthy Human Project. Share it with anyone that you think might benefit from it. And this is what it's all about. human beings thriving. So we're our own science experiments. Give it a shot this week. I'd love to know how your journey with rebuilding safety and trust goes for you. Thanks so much. See you next time.